For for Yema Obi Biara Kwaba once again about if it say so a Pinax TV. Now finally, the president of the land, Nana Akufo, has finally spoke and our casa about Captain Smart issue. People were wondering, was this man ever going to speak? Because Osha, this particular year, beginning of this year, the issue of culture of silence has been piling up. A man for cancer, this administration is so bent on silencing people. And I say, okay, it goes against them. They will either come and close your TV station, your radio station, arrest you, or put you in jail, rather than them doing the work again for Kawansem. Akoso, we share from Bulldog, Captain Smart, other issues, we share a city FM issue here, nanu ye buy together with other petty issues. Akoso, I'm for Kase. Send us some Jonah Cannon. The culture of silence is real. In fact, it's going on right now as I'm speaking to you. And no other, the president John Akuffo, the former president of the Republic of Ghana, came out to say he doesn't think culture of silence is permissive in our country, which is our party say culture of silence, and I saw can be a bino, so can be against them. Now one can ye and I say no cry, na equa against the babe chiwa. John Akuffo cast on your munisa, no munisa cry now on Nase, Emma name Cosa because MPP. Ono Kendi for the buy and also no Kendi for the buy. That is not what the party stands for. Captain Smart issue about some people have been putting a lot of blames. Let me put it out here. One of the issues I'm meeting confirming a party say the person behind Abia Captain Smart the sack near there the Bimo Kasi Dr. Baumia. People are saying this was because he pressured and as a Captain Smart Eka say Baumia Bonia Diadeno. Perhaps it was damaging Baumia's chances. Baumia's chances and of the 2024 elections, which means he wants to be a flag bearer. Still saying chance. So these were the minds of people as Mamika mean to me confirm. You've seen it on social media. People are saying Baumia was the person who perhaps he actually said this man, you see that they suspend him or something, but Baumia himself have not come out to say anything. And I say what I know is that definitely, Obeka Senyon, because he also will say he doesn't believe in silencing journalists. So we have two diverse views. But now, the man of the land has come to speak. In a video very soon, I brought from the door, but Utia, you can actually follow and know what he's saying. Osha in some Koswa about Captain Smart, president, in fact, Nema El Koswa, especially on Twitter, El Kase, you see, the president is actually silencing each and every critic in this country. Who can't say no one can hear Yababe how? In fact, Omunya Krombe Faprin, Ako US, Ako Chitrini Jonas, Ako Kevin Taylor, any one more Mukasa against their government. When a president El Kasa in a just recent way, of course, will use your man award and a doctorate degree, a doctorate honors. So the free SHS about awarding the University of Cape Coast UCC. Your man can speech now part to say he has been hearing what is going on pay Captain Smart as him on pay journalists or Mukasa against him and say or say and you true. Ocean a track record as president and now it's time of buying into politics he has always stood up for democracy and freedom of speech. So why will people now take a different stand and say because Asumi see Akasa against his government and Asumi see believe they are not doing something which the people require to criticizing the government now or sending soldiers? It doesn't make sense. Let us hear what the president said because I don't want to speak plenty. Yenti is some more kind
I've been in the eyes of the public for most of my adult life and spent many years campaigning to be elected president of our republic. The first foray I made into national politics was in the 1970s, the mid-1970s, during the Kutua Champong regime, and it was to join in the fight for an end to military rule and the restoration of constitutional democracy in Ghana. I had by this time firmly made up my mind what I felt would be the best way to govern our country, to ensure that we would achieve the free, just, prosperous, and united nation that our forefathers envisaged in starting the fight for the independence of Ghana. My credo could be easily summarized as a belief in constitutional government based on freedom of association, freedom of speech, freedom of the media, the separation of powers with an independent judiciary, the rule of law, a strong and dynamic parliament, and a private sector that unleashes the energies of the people to prosper. By the time I was elected president, I think that I established my credentials as a champion for individual freedom and press freedom in particular. So what do I make of the current accusations that are being made that freedoms are under attack under the Akufo-Addo government? I do not claim to have been a lone knight in shining armor, but it is fair to say we went through many battles together to get where we are today in the media sphere in our country. We did not wake up suddenly one morning to find ourselves with over 400 different radio stations and dozens of television channels instead of one radio station and one television station, both owned by the state and under the firm and unrelenting control of government. The criminal libel law, which had been part of our legal architecture for decades, did not just suddenly disappear from our laws. I have been a part and sometimes led the struggle for individual rights and freedom of the press in this country. I believe in it. It is part of my makeup. And when it comes to the freedom of the press, I am certain I have nothing to apologize for with reference to anything I have ever done or said. In the 2007 campaign to become the flag bearer of the new Patriotic Party, we used the slogan, "Inimufritete," to wit, we have known you from long ago. Chancellor, we must know what we are buying when we go to the shop. When we cast our ballots for someone, we must know what that person stands for. If we vote for Akufo-Addo, the human rights campaigner, to become president of our country, we have a right to expect that, backed by the Constitution and the presidential oath, we would have a human rights respecter, President Akufo-Addo. I did not imagine that the reputation I had brought to the job would be enough to carry through a freedom and rights protection agenda. Right from the beginning of my term in office, therefore, I tried to strengthen the institutions that would give meaning to the protection of our freedoms. More infrastructural development funds have been allocated to the judiciary in the past 4 years than we have ever seen, and it has gone along with human resource development. Budgetary allocations to the police service, TRAJ, NCCE, and Parliament have all been increased significantly and deliberately to boost up the capacities of these institutions. The Right to Information Act has been passed under my presidency and is now in operation despite successive governments shying away from it. That is how rights and freedoms are best protected. Since becoming president, there's nothing I have seen or experienced in the office that would make me change my long-held views on the importance of fundamental human rights. I had worked with civil society organizations and used their platforms to engage in famous arguments. Indeed, I still enjoy a healthy debate, and I'm not averse to the occasional controversy that is a necessary part of public life. I do not forget that I made a living practicing as a lawyer and going to court, which means that I know I would lose some arguments. I appreciate well-argued opinions and challenge the status quo. I need no lessons in the importance of a vigorous media in building a healthy democracy. I have said so, and I will say it again, that I would much rather we had a reckless press than a supine one. And I dare say that the atmosphere in our country is one of spirited conversation and debate among politicians, the business community, civil society organizations, and ordinary citizens. Through print, radio, television, or in particular, social media, whether they are home or abroad. Indeed, I dare say the means to get your voice heard has never been so democratized as now, and long may it last. Having said that, I must also acknowledge that, as our elders say, it is the person wearing the shoes that is able to say exactly where it pinches. Therefore, I should listen when it is suggested that journalists are under attack under my government. It remains a matter of great regret to me that the murder of Ahmed Swaleh has still not been resolved. But believe me, this is not for want of commitment on the part of the police. And I couldn't have made it any clearer that government has no interest in covering up whatever might be or whoever might be involved. There is no indication that his death was at the instance of the government. In the end, his murderer will be caught, tried, and punished. I believe it is in the interest of the state, in the interest of the people of Ghana, and in the interest of government, the journalists are and feel able to go about their work in safety. And I'll continue to do all I can to make this the reality of Ghana. In my political career over the years, I've been at the receiving end of much vitriol and deliberate falsehood thrown at me to cause maximum damage to my reputation and my political prospects. I know what it is like to be unable to protect members of your family from the mud aimed at you, but which splashes on them as well. I'm not alone in this. And there are unfortunately several journalists that have been willing to lend themselves to the destruction of people's reputations and livelihoods without just cause. Not all journalists are upright citizens, just as politicians, painters, and farmers are not all upright citizens. But I do expect our institutions to deal fairly and equitably with all citizens according to the dictates of the law when people go wrong. Let me end by addressing a particular line of the current argument being made about the threat to rights and freedoms. I believe this has led to a new definition of a culture of silence. It goes along the line that when people in government and all government policies are criticized, and there is a defense of the people of policies, it is intimidatory and leads to a culture of silence. A radio station is currently running a campaign against free SHS. During the last election, the clear impression free SHS had been endorsed by all political parties, and all we needed to do was to keep improving it. Would a spirited defense of the free SHS policy constitute an attack on press freedom? I wonder. It cannot be that everyone has a right of reply except members of the government and officialdom. Nor can it be that challenging an opinion expressed by a journalist constitutes an attack on press freedom. What I believe may be sorely lacking in our society today is the need to listen to each other more. Knowledge has never been a gift granted exclusively to one group. We must listen and hear each other more. And for me personally, I find it ironic that the presidency of a man who has been and continues to be daily the most vilified political figure of his generation can be accused of presiding over a culture of silence. There is no midnight knock on the door in Ghana for authors of dissenting views, nor will there be during my presidency. Indeed, one of the reasons assigned by the global social media platform Twitter for its decision to establish its operational headquarters in Africa in Ghana was that, and I quote, "Ghana is a supporter of free speech, online freedom, and the open internet," unquote. These qualities possessed by our nation also influenced the decision by the Federation of African Journalists to announce the holding of its annual conference in Ghana this year because of Ghana's attachment to a culture and practice of free media. Chancellor, there's also been talk about a state of insecurity prevailing in the country following reports by some sections of the media. A cursory glance at the statistics from the police service shows that, on the contrary, crime cases, at least for the first quarter of 2021, are coming down as compared to the same quarter in 2020. For example, there was a nationwide reduction in robbery cases from 525 during the period under review in 2020 to 495 in 2021, and still declining. Inasmuch as a marked reduction in the levels of crime would be preferable, government is determined to work with the police service to guarantee the security of persons and protect lives and property in accordance with the rule of law. That is why, in addition to increasing substantially the numerical strength of the police service, government has since 2017 procured some 735 additional vehicles, including 15 operational buses, a feat unprecedented in the history of the service. It must be put on record that before I came to office in 2017, the police service had a total of 492 serviceable vehicles. 320 housing units are being constructed in National Police Training School